Hey everybody, welcome to JLB Sports TV. And this episode will be the official once and for all, clearing the air episode about Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, just everything. I'm getting all of it off the table in light of what happened last night. Number one, Brett Favre flat out kicked our ass. There's really not much I can say about that. In 2 games, he's thrown 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, thrown for over 200 yards each game. He's just absolutely been phenomenal. There's no denying it. He's made the Vikings into a better team. He's helped them become an elite team. So my famous prediction about how he would make the Vikings worse, that's proving to be wrong right now. Though I still believe that at the end of the season, he will crumble like he did last year. But that doesn't really matter because the Vikings have built a nice 7-1 cushion, and there's no way Brett Favre can be that bad at the end of the season to prevent the Vikings from winning the North and making the playoffs. In light of what happened last night and coming to Lambeau Field in a hated rivals uniform and kicking our ass, I have to say I respect him more as a player. He dealt with all the emotions, came to Lambeau Field, did what he wanted to do ever since the Packers didn't want him back, and he kicked our ass in our own stadium. So bravo to him for fulfilling his dreams of the last 2 years. But I just wanted to let you know, every single time Brett Favre throws a touchdown, a puppy dies. Also, I wanted to make another point. If you are a Brett Favre fan, then I do not believe you can call yourself a Packer fan at this very moment. I will be a Packer fan in the future. Once he retires from the Vikings and we let everything settle, I'll love him again. You can't erase 16 years of memories. He's done a lot to damage those 16 years, but you still gotta love the guy. He brought us a Super Bowl. Even though I don't like him as a person, what he's done on the field, no denying it. But I just don't know how you can call yourself a true Packer fan when you're rooting for a guy in another uniform for a division rival. He's been so sinister about everything. I really don't know how you can like the guy and call yourself a Packer fan still. Once again, Aaron Rodgers went toe-to-toe with Brett Favre. So last night, Aaron Rodgers went 26 for 41 for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brett Favre went 17 for 28, 244 yards and 4 touchdowns. Once again, in the second straight game, Aaron Rodgers matched Brett Favre. Basically, possession for possession. And Aaron Rodgers did so well and brought the Packers to within a possession of winning the game or tying the game. Despite being destroyed all night, he had to run for his life literally the whole night again from Jared Allen. This time, I'll admit, he held on to the ball less in some situations, and in some situations, you know, he held onto the ball too long and should have thrown the ball away, which resulted in some sacks. But still, the protection for the Packers sucked, and he was still able to do well. Honestly, the fact that Aaron Rodgers has done so well this season is amazing, considering he's on pace to be sacked 71 times. He's been sacked 31 times thus far. Meanwhile, Brett Favre hasn't gotten touched all season. He's only been sacked 18 times. He's on pace for 36 sacks, nearly half that of Aaron Rodgers. And I just want to say again, just to reiterate, is a topic that comes up all the time in the hate mail that I get about how when the Packers lost Brett Favre last year, that was the reason they went 6-10. That's absolutely not the reason. The numbers he put up last year were practically identical to the Brett Favre of 2007, and Aaron Rodgers did so with an anemic running game all season long and virtually no defense. What attributes most to the Packers' 6-10 record last year was the fact that, number one, Ryan Grant was awful all season, mainly because the offensive line was a revolving door. Last year, the Packers played a zone blocking scheme, and they constantly had guys shuffling in and out and in and out of that offensive line. And when you can't have that in zone blocking scheme, as the zone blocking scheme is predicated on teamwork and timing, and you can't develop that when you have a new center or tackle or guard every single week. But the main issue was the defense. I cannot tell you how many times Aaron Rodgers would step it up and the offense would step it up and they'd take the lead in the 3rd and 4th quarter and just fight for the lead again and then just have the defense blow it so many times, which led to the Packers losing 7 games at 4 points or less. If you look at the splits between the defense when Brett Favre was last there in 07 and the Packers defense last year, it's really outstanding. 2008, last year, they went 6-10, they scored 419 points, and the defense allowed 380 points. You look at 2007, they went 13-3, they scored 435 points, so the production on offense is there, but they allowed 291 points, nearly 100 points more than the year before. Obviously, the problem is on defense. Cullen Jenkins tore his pectoral muscle last year. Harris had a lacerated spleen for most of the season. Nick Barnett tore his ACL. AJ Hawk dealt with problems all season, and the defense was so just injury riddled that they had Charles Woodson playing safety at the end of the season to fill in for the injured Atari Bigby and Nick Collins, both at safety. And once again, I believe that the Packers got the most out of the Brett Favre trade last year. They now have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that's going to be their franchise quarterback and play it at an elite level for the next decade. While the Jets had Brett Favre for 1 season and he screwed them over, and the Vikings are going to have Brett Favre for maybe 1 or 2 years. They're a win-now team. They'll have their great run this year, and maybe even next year Brett Favre comes back. But beyond that, they don't really have any answers at the quarterback quarterback position. The Packers are set up for the next 10 years. And if you look at it, it's very, very hard to come by elite level quarterbacks, especially ones that are replacing a legend such as Brett Favre. No doubt in Miami, they're still looking for a replacement for Dan Marino. They were looking in Pittsburgh for forever to replace Terry Bradshaw. They found one in Ben Roethlisberger. They were looking in New York forever. They found one in Eli Manning to finally replace Phil Simms about 10, 15, 20 years after the fact. They're still looking in San Francisco to replace Joe Montana and Steve Young, but in Green Bay, the Packers have found their replacement, their answer to Brett Favre. I don't know how they come out as losers out of all of this, especially when Aaron Rodgers basically duplicated what Brett Favre did last year statistically. And I just really hope to see round 3 in the playoffs. That is, if the Packers make the playoffs. I think they have a reasonable shot at the wild card, and just looking at their schedule coming up, 10-6 is a very, very real possibility, maybe 11-5, but the way that the NFC is competing this year, Atlanta's gonna be in the hunt. The Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles will all be in the hunt for that wild card spot. The Bears will be there. So the NFC wildcard is going to be very, very competitive this year. And I honestly don't know if 10-6 is going to be good enough to get into the playoffs. And this is just to address all the hate comments and the messages that I'm getting. Honestly, people, it's not necessary. I understand if you disagree with me, but there's no reason to go off cursing me and just calling me stupid names. I mean, it's really not necessary. It doesn't make the point you're making to me any more valid. It's not effective, and you honestly just come off as stupid. The way that I see it, if you curse in your everyday language and curse in arguments, well, then you just don't have a better word to get your point across. Your argument becomes less effective. I also want to address another user named NEWVIKINGFAN, who's been particularly nasty to me. We've had a little comment war on one of my videos. We've had a little message thread. And he even made 2 10-minute long videos directed right at me, bashing everything that I've said in the past, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. If you have that much time on your hands, go ahead and do it. I actually recommend that you watch the videos. Maybe not the first one, because the first one is a little dry and addressed directly at me, but the second one, actually, it's kind of funny. He takes like the audio clips from my old videos and sort of mixes them together with other audio clips regarding Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So you should go check those out. I'll leave links in the sidebar. And that's all I really have to say. This is JLB Sports TV, and Aaron Rodgers is awesome.